Hello everyone, John Marshall, the DrillMaster, here with an unarmed regulation sequence. So let's go. So Commander, you're wearing the ceremonial cap. Why is your chin strap down? That was great. Nice entrance. Honestly. So, in exhibition drill, we need to have a presence and an opening statement and an initial impression, and you just did it with the regulation sequence. The marching in, the timing there, the halt with the consistency in technique, that you just had an opening sequence, an opening statement really for your regulation sequence, and that was really good. Really, really good. I'm very impressed. And I'm sure that the judge was too. So you're dressing, covering, getting that interval and distance. So are you required to call cadence? If so, okay. If not, don't. There's no reason to call cadence. If you feel that you must call cadence, then you need more practice. So you're marching in backwards. Maybe you have to at this for this sequence here, for the setup that you have. So, Commander, every single time you halt, you need to face the flight for your commands. Everything, including when you first started off. You face the flight. You gave them left face, so that's fine. Since you needed to maybe enter from that side only, you couldn't enter from this side maybe for whatever reason. But then you would have executed a right face in march to step off. You don't face with the you don't face with the formation. Sorry about the lag here. Well, okay. So we're just going to pause until it comes back. All right. That's better. Took a little while. So you didn't stop centered. Maybe that was an issue. I would definitely suggest practicing stopping centered, but at least you didn't execute a teeny tiny little facing movement to face the judge. You just did. Crud. So don't do that. Don't execute a tiny facing movement. We don't do that in the military. You turn your head. If you need to, then you turn at the waist, but you're going to turn your head and salute. Either way, doesn't matter. It's easy to do that. Not a problem. So only the head movement. And if necessary, then you're going to get your shoulders into that, but probably isn't necessary. So just a head turn and you're good to go. So look at the thumbs sticking out here. Couple of thumbs, couple of arms that aren't horizontal. We've got a big dip right here, but definitely that thumb. Holy cow! Why are you still moving? Third rank, second element. Why on earth are you still moving? Oh my goodness. you're trying to center yourself behind the cadet in the first element, quite possibly, but that was what right dress was for. If the arm in front of you is shorter than the arm next to you, then you're going to have that arm next to you come behind you. And middle cadet right here, you need to know that. If your arm is longer than the arm in front of you, then your arm moves behind the shoulder of the individual to your left. But don't move. Boy, you might as well have a yellow uniform on and call out and start jumping around. It's exactly the same thing. Commander, don't go to parade rest. Don't salute. You don't do anything with the flight except perform your duties as commander. You're performing duties as a member of the flight, and you're not a member of the flight. You're the flight commander taking the flight through the routine. Nice cadence on the count off. Commander, don't face with them. You need to, and on this, you need to march forward for close, and then on extend, you need to march backwards. And remember, your steps, well, I'll just let it play. Your steps need to be metered here, which means that you need to end up at close interval, end up at normal interval. So your steps aren't going to be, open ranks. So I suggest checking alignment, and I don't mean going over. And here we have a little bit of a dip here, angle, almost horizontal, but the hand is going up to the shoulder. Shouldn't. And look at the hair. That's what I was talking about right there. The arm should go behind the shoulder if necessary, and sometimes it is. That's what we do in the Army and the Air Force. We align to the front as well as align to the right. Our heads are turned to the right, but our eyes also look to the front. That's why we don't give cover after ready front. So I suggest commanders, unless it's stated alignment checked, that I suggest you go ahead and go through the process of checking alignment. Don't align anybody, you just go through the process. I think every drill meet really needs to have that requirement in there. Alignment is checked. You don't move anybody, you just check the alignment so that the judge can see that you know the process. Slight phasing on the arm movements, but very sharp. Not all of the, so now we have a little bit of a distance issue as well. Not all of the thumbs are on the seam of the trouser legs. And you should be marching backwards now. Now, which way do you dress when you're faced in inverted column? You dress to the left. And it looks like here, not everybody's end step was the same. So the end step is that last step taken in the direction before or just when the halt is given. So halt, step, close. That step there with the whichever foot it was, that's the end step, and inconsistent throughout the flight, which means that the everybody's out of alignment. Slight lean forward on that forward. Toe strike on the half step. Third element leader, you need to make sure that you are taking a full step and then enter into half step, and half step needs to be 12 inches. Not bad. Little mixed up for a couple, and secondary movement too, and it was more than one, and that just doesn't fly. It doesn't fly at all. You're sticking out like a sore thumb. And look at your feet here. So thumbs look like they're actually tucked. She looks like she has her thumbs tucked in like this. Not exactly sure, but we don't do that. Actually, nobody does that. Except for the Navy Ceremonial Guard drill team. They might do that, depending on their drill season, to square off. But nobody else does it. We all cup our hands just like this. And thumb along the seam of the trouser legs, feet at a 45-degree angle, not at a 45 here, not at a 45 here. So it's inconsistent application throughout. And then spacing here was okay. The good face-in march by the first element leader. Foot kicked out a little bit too high, and I think that is mainly because your center of balance was behind the step. That's kind of a strange term, that behind the step, but if you can move your body into the move more, your foot's not going to come so high, and you'll have a better application of that step. And you also look like you're stepping over logs. So half step is just half of a full step. So full step is 24 inches, and the feet are lifted up enough to just clear the marching surface. That's it. Same with the half step. There is no height requirement there, except enough to clear the marching surface. Heel strike for both the full and the half step. And no stomping. And that's okay, so a little inconsistent on the application of rear march. And you're bringing your feet together afterwards, actually slamming them together. So you're not supposed to bring your feet together. Definitely not supposed to slam them together, but you're supposed to execute rear step march. Left foot comes 12 inches in front of and centered on, same line, the right foot. You turn on both platforms there, and you rotate. So you're finished, and then what you're going to do next is take a half step again, but with your walking base. Your walking base is the distance between the inside foot, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches. So it's a half step after you're slamming your feet together somehow here, whichever, you're either coming to a 45 or parallel or something like that, and that's not supposed to happen. So look at your spacing here as well. And Commander, you should be facing the flight. And don't take off with the first element, or the third element, the first element out of the chute there. You take off with the middle of the, you stay centered, you take off with the second element. And you march then over to 3 steps away from the flight. And don't execute pivots either. So let's go back here. So out of step. Not out of phase, but out of step. And so Commander, you face the flight, then you give. And you kept your heads turned. That's great, element leaders. Excellent job. That's good. What you need to do is turn and look down at the feet. As soon as the second person, the previous element, previous meaning the one that's marching forward, as soon as that individual steps forward, then you're going to give on their right step, you're going to go forward. Then the last person, their right step is march, and then you step off. And what you're going to do is incline to your right, incline to your left. No flanks, no pivots at all. And I know you're going to pivot there. Oh, so and you don't move over like this. You move over and follow the leader. Not like that. That's not the technique. You follow the leader for your element leader, which is why then first element is left hanging. There's such a big gap there. So second element, you let the first element down, and you don't come to a mark time. You call halt, and so you have inconsistent spacing, inconsistent application of the technique for getting into column of files. So you're going to call that command over. You're moving to the left, you turn your head to the left. Even though third element, you're going to stand fast, you still call it over the left to be consistent with everybody else, with the other element leaders. So your movement is to the left, head to the left. Movement is to the right, head to the right. If it doesn't matter, then head is to the right. It's always to the right unless you're moving to the left. I'll put it that way. That's better explanation. And you don't come to mark time. You actually march up and then halt as you're marching in. And now you have inconsistent alignment. You also have really, really close spacing. That was good, Commander. That's not double time. Double time is not just jumping in the air like that. You're actually going to move forward. What is it, 30 inches? Yeah, I think it's 30 inches. And see how your first element leader, see how you're lifting your feet much too high? Change step needs to be step, step, step. Close and extend definitely need some work on that. And not everybody is stepping off in cadence. So you can see the issue with that. So you can see some shoulders in on the arm swing there. Dresses to the left as you're in an inverted column. So second element leader, your shoulders are going back and forth. It's interesting, every single time you execute to the rear, certain people are out of step because of the inconsistent understanding of application of that movement. So don't cross over, Commander. I know that AFJROTC said, yeah, you can do that from either side, but don't. So, and I've explained it before. So eyes right in this instance isn't part of a parade, isn't part of a review. You execute it from your position. The commander doesn't have a position on the right of the formation. The commander's position is on the left. The commander then executes the hand salute or if carrying a sword, then the salute that way, from the left of the formation. Left meaning that the element leaders are leading. There's no reason whatsoever to change sides. The Air Force JROTC saying either side is inaccurate. I'll put it that way. It's unnecessary. So if this were a parade, the commander would be at the front, and it depends on, well, we're just dealing with a flight. So if you had a guide on, or a flight guide on, or guide on bearer and a commander, then they definitely have positions. But this isn't the case, so the commander needs to be on the left. There's no need to change sides at all. So it's eyes right, not extra steps in between, and you're going to salute the entire time. Ready front is called on 2 consecutive left steps. You call it on the left, but you had extra steps in between there. But you're saluting the entire time. So ready front, and then you drop. And the reason that it's called on the left is because of coordinated arm swing. It works out perfectly with the arm swing like that. First element leader doing a pretty decent job on half step there. It looked like, I want to go back just a bit, double check that, but it looks like she's doing well. Good initial step there. So yeah, I can't really see the the longer feet. She has smaller feet, obviously, but yeah, it that looks fairly consistent. It's almost a 15-inch step, not exactly 12. So it could be shortened maybe a little bit, but other than the foot rise, then that's good length. So I suggest practicing with a. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're closing and then stepping off with the right, and some are stepping off with the left, or have stepped off with the left. So, and you speed up in your half step. So I suggest practicing with a metronome. The salute was too slow there, Commander. It needs to be up in 1 count. All right, so some work needs to be done, but still there were some good moments in there. Practicing with a metronome and setting it to 110 beats per minute, and just having it constantly clicking. Turn your volume up. Use loud metronome. It's nice and loud over Bluetooth, or what's really nice, and I like to do this, is to take whoever's in the middle of the formation, turn the phone up all the way, stick it on 110, obviously turn the screen off, and then stick it in the back pocket, and then march to that tempo. And you have to really concentrate to hear while you're marching, so you're not going to stomp, because you don't need to stomp. You're not going to slam your feet together, all that stuff. you're going to strain to hear it towards the center of the formation, and that's really going to be very helpful. And it's going to help the whole team understand that they need to change their marching technique in certain circumstances. So speeding up at half step is going to slow down almost immediately. You're going to not understand how to march with the metronome at first. It's going to be a little sloppy. I get that, but consistent application there is going to really be helpful. And then yeah, it's well, start with that, and again, if you need to work with me through video, that's fine, we'll do it. All right, so I hope my comments have been helpful, and I appreciate this. I appreciate you sending in the videos. I know that sometimes it can be a little embarrassing, maybe a little difficult to watch and listen to me tell you what's wrong and what needs to be adjusted, but really, anything that's painful like this can lead to growth, and I'm very happy to help the whole team, all three teams, really grow in this instance. So thanks a lot.